Do you remember 30 years ago? Well, if you can't remember 30 years ago, I want you to imagine 30 years ago. Ronald Reagan, the Cold War, right? Madonna, big hair, parachute pants. In the early 1980s, I grew up on a small farm in southwest Wisconsin. And one of the things we did for fun on that small farm was watch TV. Now, on the farm in Wisconsin, we only had 3 channels. Maybe 4 if you got real creative with a coat hanger and some tin foil. We watch shows, and when you only have 3 or 4 channels, you watch the shows that are on, right? We watch shows like The Love Boat, The Dukes of Hazzard, The A-Team. Remember those? Yeah. And you know what? If you wanted to change the channel back then, you know what you had to do? Yeah, you actually had to get up, walk over to the TV, and change the channel. What does watching TV look like today? You see, in our country, and other countries as well, but in our country, we've developed what I call a remote control attitude. You see, we've got this entitlement mentality that we think we can get things to change for us simply by pushing a button. We think we can get things to change for us by pushing a button. And this remote control mentality is destroying our ability to do. And if you don't do things, your attitude suffers. Your attitude suffers if you don't do things. We become a nation of spectators. We would rather watch other people do things than do them ourselves. According to Nielsen Media Research, the average American, and I know it's no one in here because everyone in here is way above average, the average American watches over 4 hours of TV per day. No, and I know, I was shocked too when I heard it, and I see people shaking their heads, but let's just try this. By a show of hands, how many people have more TVs in your house than you have people in your house? But I know you don't watch them, right? I'm sure they're not on. You see, and this remote control attitude is destroying our ability to do things. You see, we live in a negative world right now. We are living in a negative world, and part of the reason is because of this remote control attitude. We'd rather watch others than do things ourselves. And when we watch shows, what kind of shows do we watch? Help me out. Reality TV shows. Is reality TV, is that positive or is that negative? It's negative, isn't it? See, and we're watching 4 hours a day of this crap. You see, we would rather watch Survivor. Yeah, well, I love Survivor too. Okay, see, and this is how this works. When I heard 4 hours, I thought, wow, I don't watch 4 hours of TV. So about 10 years, I started keeping track. As a dude, you get up in the morning, you watch a little Sports Center because you want to know what's going on. About a half an hour. At lunch, there's a TV on. You watch a little news or a little TV. And is the news positive or negative? It's negative. So that's an hour. And then, you know, when I work hard all day, and I get home, a guy deserves a little TV, doesn't he? So I'd watch a couple episodes of Seinfeld. And then, if it's a Thursday night, it's the season premiere or the season finale of Survivor, and you got to watch that. And that's 2 hours. Real quickly, you get 4 hours of TV. You see, we'd rather watch Survivor than go make our own adventure. We'd rather watch American Idol rather than sing in church on Sunday. Right? We watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette rather than asking somebody on a date. It's true. And then if we're lucky enough, by chance, if we get a date, we sit at home on the couch with our date and watch what? Dancing with the Stars. right? We watch The Apprentice rather than going back to school or working on our career. And my favorite of all time, my favorite, is we sit on the couch, the bag of chips, right? The remote. Maybe ice cream if you're a sweet person rather than salty. And a Diet Pepsi, right? And what do we watch? The Biggest Loser. Is that positive or negative? It's not called The Biggest Winner, is it? It's The Biggest Loser. And watching TV in itself isn't a bad thing. But it's when we sit on the couch and watch The Biggest Loser and then we complain that we don't have time to what? Time to exercise. Here's where it really hits the road for me. How many people like sports? I played high school football. I love football. And since I don't have cable, when a game's on, a big game's on, I got to go somewhere and watch it, right? So here I am, sitting at my mom and stepdad's house, watching the big football game. And it's the Packers, my Packers, versus the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, and I'm watching Adrian Peterson kick the crap out of the Packers. And it's a good game. There's playoff implications. I mean, it's a big deal. And in runs my little 3-year-old, Carter, with the football. Daddy, Daddy, let's go play catch. Come on, kid, the big game's on. I mean, it's third quarter. We'll play catch after the game, Carter. I mean, come on, Carter, you make a better door than you do a... Were you there? You see, this is when it hits the road. We become a nation of spectators. We'd rather watch than do. And you got to be very careful doing what I did to little Carter when I'm in this business and this is what I do for a living, and your wife happens to be standing in the back of the room. She wants to know if I walk the talk. You see, as a nation of spectators, this remote control mentality is destroying our ability to do. And I've learned that the more I watch others do, that equates to the less that I physically do. And the less that I do, the more negative I become. And the opposite is true. The more that I do, the more meaningful things that I do, right? The more positive that I become. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge us to go make your own adventures. Get off your butt and go make your own adventures. See if you can survive a hike in the woods. Whoa, right? Or sing in church on Sunday. No matter how bad you are, nobody's going to kick you off the island. Ask somebody on a date. Take somebody dancing, right? Sign up for that class that you always wanted to take. Or just simply go for a walk around the block. And when the big game is on, especially when the big game is on, play catch with little Carter. See, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy because we have way more buttons today than we did 30 years ago. And I haven't even mentioned cell phones or Facebook. You see, we have way more buttons than we did 30 years ago. But that old principle is truer today than it was back then. If you want something to change for you, you've got to get up and you've got to change it yourself. My name is MattBooth. If you think I would be a good fit for one of your upcoming events, I would love to talk to you. Thanks for the opportunity.